Stress affects the body and what you can do to manage it. Now, our objectives tonight. What is it that we're hoping to achieve? We're going to look at stressors, what makes you nervous and anxious. We're going to try and define stress, what the scientists call it, the mechanism of stress, how stress affects me, affects us, the pathophysiology of stress, how stress can hurt me, management techniques, that is what we can do, what you can do to manage stress. But what makes us nervous in the first instance? For me, it's work. I don't know about anybody else, but I am definitely stressed out at work. Fighting, that's one. Arguing, these are also stressors. Uncertainty of what is coming. Uncertainty of our jobs. Uncertainty of what COVID-19 is doing to our society, to our homes, to us as individuals. We have change. We have changes in relationships. And that's happening because of COVID too. Not that it wasn't happening before, but there are changes going on there as it relates to our spouse, our children, neighbors, members of our congregation, or other congregations, which may involve physical abuse, emotional abuse, and verbal abuse. So the finance is there as well. Illnesses, food, all of these can make us nervous or anxious. Food, where is the next meal coming from? This brings on a lot of stress when you live from paycheck to paycheck and you are the sole income earner. Then there is commuting, going into those taxis or buses within this COVID time. Then there's loss and COVID-19. These tend to go hand in hand. COVID has robbed us. It has robbed us of our friends, our relatives, co-workers, members of our congregation. It has robbed us of our jobs, the way we socialize, and crime is also in the mix. Transition, how we transition from one community to the next. Some of us have to be moving because of the crime that is happening in our communities. We transition from job to job. With COVID, you lose your job today and you have to go and find another one. So all of these are in the mix. Stress defined. How do we define stress? Stress was popularized in the 1950s by Hans Selye, and it was defined as anything non-specific but affects the it is non-specific but affects the total response of the organism, and that is the mind and body as it relates to stressors. Stressors, on the other hand, can be internal. They can be internal thoughts or external stimuli. So these are the two that we'll be focusing on tonight. Now, what is the mechanism of stress? Historically, stress was physical. We needed to survive physical attacks. Initially, we were out there hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. We were out there hunting food. Our forefathers were out there hunting food. So they had to deal with the wild animals, right? And basically, this is where our stress mechanism, the physical part, kicked in. This is not moving at all. Just give me a minute, slides. Okay, thanks. So our first response as it relates to stress, as it relates to the mechanism of stress, our first response was flight or fright. And this was immediate. We didn't have any time to think about it. It was unconscious, it was being done, our body was doing it without us having any control over this. And in addition, hormones, epinephrine and norepinephrine is released in the process. Look at this poor young man. He's as frightened as ever with this mule coming into his car. And the body is going to respond. The body responds to stress. So when you perceive a situation or event to be a threat, your body begins a stress response. Someone or something surprises you, you may jump or feel your heart start to race. And then we go into this stage called the alarm stage. This is the first stage that kicks in. The body and mind go on high alert. Fight, you're going to stand up and fight, or you're going to run away. Flight, that is the response. Now, our hypothalamus receives a signal and releases a hormone that acts on the pituitary gland, and this is the master gland. Pituitary secretes a hormone that stimulates the adrenal glands, and the adrenal glands secretes adrenaline, the emergency hormone that prepares the body to respond to a stressor. See how great God has made us? Now, what happens in this process? Our pupils dilate, breathing rate quickens, increase in heart rate and pulse rate, increase in sweat, narrowing of arteries to organs and skin, rise in blood pressure, release of blood sugars, fats and cholesterol. Please take a note of this one in particular, the blood sugars, the fats and the cholesterol. Increase blood flow to muscles and brain. See how many things are happening? An increase in muscle tension. The alarm stage continues, but there are two parts to this process. It is turning it on and turning it off. When a perceived threat is gone, your parasympathetic nervous system, the other arm of your autonomic nervous system, steps in to cool your body down. Your stress hormones go back to their normal levels. Aren't we grateful for that? I am, for sure. Wouldn't like to have those things continuing at forever or for a day or two, but it does. The resistance stage, that's the second stage. What happens in this stage? If you're unable to successfully respond to a stressor during the alarm stage, Your body moves into the resistance stage. Your body adapts to the continued presence of the stressor. Your body is briefly able to perform at a higher level of endurance. Your ability to resist a physical challenge or attack may be enhanced. The work your body does during this stage uses up a lot of energy. You may become tired, irritable, and less able to handle any added stress. And the third phase, the fatigue exhaustion stage. I think we could guess that this stage would be coming, eh? After all that we said earlier. When stress is prolonged, a tired feeling takes over that lowers your level of activity. Your mind and body are exhausted. Poor man. Your body can no longer keep up with the demands placed on it. Your ability to effectively manage other stresses is extremely low. Exhaustion occurs only if a stressor continues for a long time, usually weeks, months, or even years. People may reach this stage when they experience extreme stress beyond their control, such as the death of a family member. Prolonged stress or chronic stress can lead to stress-related illnesses. Some may be minor, like the stomach ache, the flu that we contract, or sleeplessness, as well as the life-threatening ones, the high blood pressure, the heart disease, and the stroke. Now, how stress can make you sick? I guess we have been seeing some of these things coming up. The cholesterol, the irregular heartbeats, or the high heart rate. We have been seeing them. Our hardwired stress response is designed to give us the quick burst of heightened alertness and energy needed to perform at our best. But stress isn't all good. When activated too long or too often, stress can damage virtually every part of your body. Severe or prolonged stress can affect your health. Stress can trigger certain illnesses and reduce the body's ability to fight and make diseases harder to control. Now we move on to the 5 categories of stressors. Number 1, personal behavior stressors. These are not nice at all, and they're brought about by negative reactions in the body and mind caused by smoking, tobacco, alcohol, and other drugs. And most times, we are the ones that really bring it on. You have number 2, life situation stressors. Some of them we can't avoid. Death of a loved one, separation or divorce from a partner, pregnancy or birth of a new baby, children's behavior or disobedience, children's educational performance, not sufficient money to raise your standard of living, loss of money in a burglary or a pickpocket or share market investment. And you may never believe it, even graduating from high school can be a stressor. Poor young man leaves school and there's no job and there's no funds to continue with his college. Biological stressors. These come upon us. Some are unexpected, through illnesses, disabilities, some no fault of ours, and injuries. These, as we said, we did not bargain for them, but we are in the situation. But how are we going to handle all of these stressors? Environmental stressors. We're counting down. Poverty. This has been with us for quite a while. Pollution. This is getting out of hand. Crowds, noise, violent crimes. We see this every day in Jamaica, every single day. Natural disasters. And we have been getting our share of it. And our everyday problems like missing the bus or losing your keys. These are stressors too, you know. Cognitive or thinking stressors. That's number 5. How we perceive things. The way you perceive a situation or how it affects you and the world around you. This is where we look at the cognitive or the thinking stressors. So stress is increasingly a part of our lives. Increasingly, yes, it has been a part of some person's life for a good while now. What are ways we can protect ourselves from its long-term damaging effects? Because the damage is there, the damage is coming. But what can we do to alleviate these damages? We're going to try and recognize the signs of stress. What are some of these signs? We have some warning signs, you know, and we're very familiar with some of them. As I go through, you will see. You have the physical signs, the mental, emotional, and the social signs, and the behavioral signs. The physical effects of stress, it can be very long, but I'll not go long this evening. The physical effects of stress, the psychosomatic response, a physical reaction that results from stress rather than from an injury or illness. So it's not an injury we get, and it's not an illness we have, but it's what's happening to us internally as well as externally. You have the muscle tensions. How many of us are familiar with this one? Weight gain and loss. We physically see the weight gain and we physically see the weight loss. Unexpected hair loss. We're not talking about the gentlemen who have the hereditary gene for hair loss. No. Unexplained hair loss. Headache, or we call them tension headaches. This we feel them around our scalp, face, and neck, and may produce an aching or pounding sensation in your head. In addition to stress, certain foods such as chocolate or large amounts of caffeine can trigger headaches as well. Asthma. Breathing becomes difficult. Asthmatic attack happens when the air passage of the respiratory system narrows, making it difficult to breathe. It helps when people with asthma recognize which stressors can trigger an attack. Upset stomach. Oh my gosh, that one is for real. Stress disrupts the movement of food through the digestive system. Food may move too quickly or too slowly, causing gas, cramps, diarrhea, or constipation. Stress also increases the amount of stomach acid. So we have the peptic ulcers. And the physical effects continues. The high blood pressure. Prolonged stress can cause cholesterol levels to increase, which results in high blood pressure. Remember in the first stage, where we have the pupils dilating and the cholesterol and the sugar being released in the bloodstream? Yes, this is one of the causes. Pounding heart rate, increased sweating, skin rash, weakened immune system, and this reduces your ability to fight off diseases, especially the COVID-19 at this time. Now, as it relates to our mental, emotional, and social effects, you have difficulty concentrating, hard to focus, which can lead to negative self-talk or self-criticism. We have mood swings, can put strain on relationships, anxiety, and with anxiety, this can also lead to depression. Risk of substance abuse, as we saw earlier with that young man, increase a person's vulnerability to drug use, and the use of these substances increases stress also. We are very critical of others, and we have negative thinking going on, and excessive worrying. Behavioral changes, overeating, or hardly eating at all. And can we see where the weight gain and weight loss comes in? Sleep problems, hurrying, always hurrying. And what are we achieving in the time that we're hurrying? Sometimes we can't see it. Talking fast. Sometimes we can't even understand what persons are saying. Withdrawing from relationships. This does happen. And reckless behavior. The drinking, the smoking, and other reckless behaviors. So how are we going to manage our stress? There are some ways that we can do this. First of all, we're going to take some notes tonight, or you do your screenshots. Ways to manage stress. We're going to try and plan ahead. What do you mean by planning ahead? I have time to plan ahead, but there are 5 reasons to plan ahead. It allows you to be more productive. Planning ahead allows you to be more productive. Planning ahead allows you to set realistic goals. Planning ahead, you have less stress, believe me. And you can develop discipline. And you feel accomplished when you do plan ahead. Another point, get organized. And this is to reduce stress. What do you mean by get organized? You're going to set a limit to the organization that you do. Right? It's easy to get stuck in an organization loop. What do I mean by this? It is so important to limit how much time you spend in organizing and planning, right? Organizing your home, organizing things at the office. There must be a time limit on how you do this, right? As we said, you must know exactly the time that you plan to do this action, when it starts, and when it should end. Prioritize your space. Decide which areas are the most worthy of your organizational time, right? We're organizing things, but where do I want to start? For some people, it may be their computers. I don't want to talk about the computer because my one is in a clutter. It's not funny. Till now, it's slow, really slow. And I have to go and try and clean it up, right? While other persons, their focus would be on the stack of mail sitting on the kitchen table. So we have our different priorities. Whatever space causes you the most stress should be the space you tackle first. Get rid of excess paper. For many people, stacks of mail, bills, receipts can create clutter and raise anxiety levels. One of the best ways to reduce stress is to cut down on the amount of excess paper you have around. Throw out some of those bills. Some of them are really not necessarily, not necessary at all. And some, you'll never go back to them. So we can get rid of some of these papers. Be proactive. A huge component of avoiding stress is being proactive. Believe it or not, you can get organized with the way you approach your stressors. Yes, we know the stress coming, but we can do things that will help us along when they do arrive. For a lot of people, this can feel quite empowering. Whether this means planning your to-do list the night before, or setting reminders for your family, taking early action can prevent you from getting stressed out later. Take my word for it. In addition to this now, we have organized, we have planned. Now we get down to getting adequate sleep. A minimum of 8 to 10 hours. You may be saying, Sister Baldwin, that's not possible. 8 to 10 hours. But this is the recommendation. If possible, do not have a mobile tablet, TV, or computer in the bedroom at night, as the light from the screen interferes with sleep. Sleep boosts our immune system. Sleep helps prevent cardiovascular disease, and sleep improves memory and is essential for brain functioning. Young people on the platform, I hope you're taking notes. Do regular physical activity. 30 or 60 minutes per day of moderate to vigorous activity at least 5 days per week helps you to gain some health benefits, and it works for everyone. Eat nutritious foods. Eat a well-balanced breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Some people say that is too much. If I eat breakfast, I can't eat lunch. If I eat lunch, I won't eat any dinner. But eat your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Remember, those acids are being released in the stomach. And if they don't get something to work on, guess what it's going to work on? The lining of your stomach. And that's what causes ulcers. And in addition to the ulcer, they may eventually end up into cancer of the stomach. I'm not trying to scare you, but it's the reality. So we're going to also include foods rich in vitamins, minerals, dietary fiber, protein, and antioxidants. These can be found from fruits and vegetables. I'm sure most of you know this, and your grains and your protein foods, which your body needs to lower the risk of chronic illnesses and infectious diseases. See, we're fighting COVID again when we do this. Enlist your family members to help in preparing meals and snacks. It can be so rewarding when you get help. Eat regular meals, as I said before. Limit comfort foods, and these are what? When you're feeling down and feeling depressed, you're going to run for the chocolate, you're going to run for the cake. These, you should limit them, and limit or eliminate caffeine. Relax and laugh. Find a quiet place and sit or lay down. Listen to some music. Close your eyes and try to relax your body. Focus on your breathing, the inhale and the exhale. Read to relax and de-stress. Find a nice place to read a book, and that is de-stressing. Watch a movie. And you can do that with the whole family, or you can just do it by yourself. Texting. It helps, to de-stress. Okay, you're talking with family and friends. You're sharing the good news with them. Listening to music. Talking with friends. Drawing, painting. And remember those deep breathing exercise. Very good to cut down or to eliminate or to reduce your stress level. You inhale for 1. In, purse your lips, and then you let out slowly. And this clears your mind and relieves stress. And if you do this, you'd not believe the wonders. Body relaxation exercise. This is also good. Counseling sessions. Some persons, we cannot do it by ourselves. Sometimes our family members and friends intervene, but sometimes we really need that professional help. So if it reaches that stage, please do not hesitate to get the help from these professional persons. Other helpful tips that we can use. Changing our perceptions and expectations, right? Sometimes they are way over our head or way outside. Break jobs, tasks into manageable parts. Sometimes we want to achieve the whole thing, and if we break it down, break it down into small parts, small tasks, it is more manageable. Set reasonable, realistic goals. And we know our goals, we know what we want to achieve, but let it be reasonable and realistic. Avoid procrastination. Do not continue putting it off for tomorrow or for next week. Those reports, if we do a little part of it today, we might skip tomorrow and we continue, but because we know this report is due at the end of the month, but we decide that we want to do the report, or we end up doing the report a night before or a day before or 2 days before when you needed more time. And that leads to stress upon stress upon stress. Set boundaries. You have to have boundaries. Don't compromise your values and your beliefs at no time. Schedule me time. You are wonderfully made. You are. At my school, my principal, in fact, she always recommend. She has never, ever let us out for the week and don't remind us that we should schedule our mean time, especially over the weekends, right? During the week, it's kind of hard. But on the weekend, she said, go and pamper yourself, right? And you don't have to do it with other persons, you can just do it by yourself. Go apart and take care of you. So some of the advantages of our stress management, we're going to have decreased stress related symptoms. We're going to have more energy and stamina. We're going to have improved sleep. We're going to have decreased anxiety. And we have a positive attitude, a positive outlook, and a hopeful and happier outlook as well. And we also want to save some money, because guess what? We're going to decrease the use of medication. We don't need those painkillers. Those who were diagnosed with diabetes, you may cut down from the 1,000 grams to the 500 grams, and some may even come off altogether, just because we take care of our stress level. We, as we said, reduce pain as well, increase ability to manage pain. We find other ways, exercise, diet. But sometimes we eliminate some of these things out of our diet, the pain goes away as well. Increase ability to relax physiologically. Increased sense of control and improved self-esteem. This is a plus. So we're getting down to closing. These are some of the apps that can help in de-stressing. You have at your fingertips multiple resources through your electronic devices to help you deal with stress. I hope you knew that. Here is one of them, the Breathe Ball. It's a stress reliever. It helps with breathing exercise, and you can download it for free. The Step Counter, I use this one. Some days I am not up there. It might ask you what is your target, I might put in a 6,000 steps for the day or a 10,000 steps for the day. Sometimes I don't really achieve it, but I try. Some nights what I do, if I'm very low, I will go on the treadmill or I will walk around just to make up those stress. And it really helps. We also have our mindfulness coach. Last thing, marriage counseling, we can use this if we are having problems. And we have our Calm app, where it can help us with meditation, sleep, and relaxation. So we do have some apps that can help us. But most importantly, our Bible verses for stress relief. I have 30 listed here, and I'm sure many of you know these, some of them by heart. Peace I leave with you, John 14:27. My peace I give you, I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your heart be troubled and do not be afraid. Cast your cares on the Lord and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken. Psalms 55 verse 22. And then you have Bible verses on anxiety. There's another 30 of them. You can take a screenshot or you can look them up on the internet. From distress, you have Psalms 118 verse 5 and 6. From my distress, I called upon the Lord. The Lord answered me and set me in a large place. The Lord is for me. I will not fear. What can man do to me? So we have a lot from the Word of God that can help us through. And finally, Hebrews 13 verse 5 and 6. Let your character, your moral essence, your inner nature be free from the love of money, shun greed, be financially ethical, being content with what you have, for he has said, I will never, under any circumstances, desert you, nor give you up, nor leave you without support, nor will I in any degree leave you helpless, nor will I forsake or let you down or relax my hold on you. Assuredly not. So we take comfort and are encouraged and confidently say, the Lord is my helper in time of need. I will not be afraid. What will man do to me? Tonight, we have gone through, and I would like to thank you for listening. I'd like to thank you that I got this opportunity to be with you, and imploring that you continue to stay safe and stay positive, and please practice what we have learned here tonight, and I'm sure life will be so much better, and indeed we will be richer because we'll have abundance of health and we'll be spending less money on doctor bills and other bills as it relates to stress. Thank you and have a good night.